hoàn toàn giải thoát khỏi những ràng buộc của chân và huyễn, siêu vượt danh tự và các tướng của sinh diệt và trụ, siêu vượt đến và đi, lấy và bỏ. Mạn Đà La tối thượng chính là cảnh giới tâm nguyên sơ. Chúng con xin dâng cúng tất cả và qua đó nguyện chúng con đạt được gia hộ để đạt đến cảnh giới Phật. Completely liberated from the bounds of real and unreal, transcending the names and attributes of arising, cessation and abiding, coming and going, affirmation and denial, the supreme mandala is the natural stage. By offering it, may we be blessed to attain the stage of Buddhahood. Om Guru Deva Dakini Ratna Mandala Pachisa Soha.
Chanchu Ampandu Sunam Dola Benja Jendwembrajo Sanje Chudang Sojen Chonam Lai Chanchu Ampandu Dane Jabzu Dagi Jinsu Jimbe Tonam Jen Dola Penjire Sanje Dwembrajo.
Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly.
诸佛正法身众会，直至菩提，我皈依。我以布施诸功德，为利有情，愿成佛。
Devara Juranje, Dunga Meben Devata, Mendravara Juranje, Niren Chada, Nidan, Traveda, Nimla, Nebra Juranje, Manamga, Nyambe, Simjan, Tamjan, Devata, Devin, Judan, Dembra Juranje, Dunga, Dan, Dunga, Judan, Travara Juranje, Dunga Meben Devata, Mendravara
自无量心，愿一切众生具得极乐因，愿一切众生离苦及苦因，愿众生不离无苦之妙乐，愿永离爱憎，常住平等舍。
May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
七支供养。
Whatever slight virtues have
七
accumulated
支供
through
养、灵
prostration,
力以及
offering,
供养、忏悔
compassion,
语、学习功德、敦敬祈注释，凡诸
I
些
dedicate it
为
all for the sake
三
of
月我
complete
积极
enlightenment.
总未圆满菩提而回向。供曼达。相香水涂饰花朵铺满地，圣山四周日月为庄严。园林佛刹一座供养故，愿诸众生受用清净土。今向三身圆满上施众，万利密山真如以供养。无生之财万物悉受矣。无上殊胜成就其至于 Om Guru Devata Kini Ratna Mantra Bhakti Soha。
With my body, speech, wealth, and all that is individual, please grant me the supreme enlightenment. Om Guru Devata Kini Ratna.
请转法轮。 一切众生之思会，根器不同而见之，共与不共，大小乘，其情因情转法轮。
And the teachings common to both, according to the disposition and mental capacity of the sentient beings. 上星期我是讲到第5品密咒品的第季，今天应该是从第19季开始讲。Tene telandir kanji sempre chewe chute tene kare saying sanita sanje jumdende tene songbe chuji pungbu jeji xedong tamche tene cho jigdo zu dune for the in order to try to get for the sake of the benefit of all sentient beings, try to get enlightenment,
我们能够众生的能够得证菩提，我们在这边专心一致来聆听恭敬正法一义的法教。
The one which is the core essence
那这个正法一义，也就是佛陀8万4千法门法教的这个精华。大家今天来听法，应该要有利他心以及菩提心，以此来发心来听讲。
天公鸡给他从有的在呢，天堂那个做三下，从
先念一下今天可能会讲到的偈颂，第19季开始，不动等持三界轮回因，三生各自异具其他2，密咒修持定不可无戒，贪为成道障碍经续同，咒亦不可令恶而成善，毗那牙说恶者咒亦恶，尽除烦恼方是善事果，非为施展神通行诸法，乃为金刚阿鼻与众生正量高超上师速导引。
sunga changi yu soya ta timbare doson kiwade
like there is like 7 vital points on this concept, and we have been on the point, the 5th point, which is the vital points of vows of the secret mantra. And last time we have talked about the empowerment, and also we have talked about the generation stage, the completion stage, with the sign, the characteristics, and also the characterless, that is on the like kind of the channels, the vein and the bindu, the energy. So we have talked about it in a briefly. We have talked about channel, the vein, and the essence, the energy, tigle or bindu. So now here, right now, we are going to talk about the 20 Vajra verses that is in each of the 3 kayas that are present. That's all.
我们这个正法一义总共有7个要品，即7个品。那我们已经讲了4个，我已经完整的讲了前4品了。现在正在进行第5品，也就是密咒界的品，要义品。上个星期我们讲过了这个灌顶、生起次第、圆满次第、征兆、特点，以及气脉明点等等的修辞。那么今天呢，是从第20季开始，就是3声各自义具其他2。
테네야 텔레소 두바 테네 셴도 두바다 테네 용거 당가랑소 된조 랑간다지나 테네 고르게 칸로마 제스다 용거와 테인도 자네 테네 되게 돌아 무슨 인제시에나 구숨 문제 나용도 자네 테네 얌콜로 된조데 테네 롱고 위움도르지 파모데 추고 tening korgin kanro tenso sama te turgure sene jingkor jigin nangla kusumde tade yuban rawji tenen de shejamke yongi yore tende samno tende tamaya yon sibare ta tena jindo tene namja jundu nganzo sanje chugo dan longo dan turgo sende zane tene tandande daji kusumbote tade yimbegen do sheji nganzo rangshin gilebde yore Trugo saying, Namsan Shachatoba, the Uchila, Munzin Zondore, Lungu saying to Zane, Tene Penachi, Generesic Tau, Tene Chugu, Tarande, that Dojin Chang Tau, that nation, Koji Kaka Kaka Yubandoji, Sanguirua. Tam Muyu Nesrugo on the chain to Zane, Chu Tamje, the Kusum Granshin Re. Tea in Duzane, Manzu Jinkur Chicken Nangi, Yam Kolo Demchota Uchi in a Yam Kusum Granshin Re. Yum dorji pamoyang kusum garanjinre, kolgin kandrotayang kusum garanjinre, tin zane kunzo changma de ala kusum sumcharatane changde wata utile chi indege tin du zane tandan tene jiten sung tesung kusum rere layang sendu zane benna tene lungu re serjuge kolo denjo telayang chugo na trugu ni changde yures Chugure sejuge dorji pamo telayang kusum changdu yures. Tena shindu chugure sejuge kolgin kanru maten zolayang kusum garanjin res. Oda tindu zane kusum rere layang shini chang saya teten bare.
So here, when we talk about in each of the 3 kayas, the other 2 are also present. So what it means here is, usually all the phenomena has the nature of 3 kayas. Even in the mandala, in a 1 mandala. So all these 3 are inclusive. For example, the Chakrasambhara, known as the father deity, and the Vajravarahi, known as the mother deity, and all together within the Chakrasambhara mandala there are around 60 deities and so forth, and there are also 4 kind of the daki, and whatever it is. Here, usually when we talk about the father deity, usually we take it as Sambhogakaya. And when we talk about the mother deity, like the Vajravarahi, we take it as Dhammakaya. And when we talk about its retinues, or like the khandrum, the sky traveler or sky, and it's known as the Nirmanakaya. So whatever is this, usually, so we have some kind of notions, like when we talk about the Nirmanakaya, we tend to think about the Shakyamuni Buddha. And also when we talk about the Sambhogakaya, we tend to think about the Avalokiteshvara Buddha. And also when we talk about the Dhammakaya, we tend to have the notion of the Vajradhara, whatever it is. So what the Lord Jigten Sungmen states is that, so within the one deity, for example, the Father deity, it is both the Dhammakaya, Nirmanakaya, and Sambhogakaya at the same time. When we talk about the mother deities, it is actually the Dhammakaya, Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, both. And it's the same with the sky dweller, like Khandro, or its retinues. When you talk about retinue, it comprises the three kayas, that is the Dhammakaya, Nirmanakaya, and Sambhogakaya. Therefore, the reason why he stated that each of the three kayas, the other two are also present.
第20纪三身各自亦具其他二。这边讲的是，这个一切的现象都具足三身的。坛城里面的是这样子，本尊也是这样子。在父序这个父尊来讲呢，圣的金刚以及金刚亥母，在圣的金刚的坛城中约有60个本尊、4种勇士、空行等等。那在这边呢，圣的金刚代表的是父序，一般来讲是报身；金刚亥母代表的是母序，一般来讲是法身。那周围的眷属呢，或者是空行等等呢，一般代表的是化身。只是一般我们在讲到化身的时候，一般人只会直接想到说释迦牟尼佛；报身的话，可能想到是天手观音菩萨；法身是想到金刚总持。但是在这边我们讲说，在一本尊之中是具足三身的，父序是具足法报法三身，母序也是具足法报法三身，空行也是具有法报法三身，所以这一季颂讲三身各自亦具其他二。
단답값을 보고 꾸숨 써야 돼. 문에 되는 그 꾸숨부터 시에고 그래. 되는 그 꾸숨 쓰는데다네 모국의 찬에 죽어서 시에고 그래. 란신 살외게 찬에 어떤데 죽어서는 시에용 거요래. 근데 된다고데 가바 매백의 찬에 되는 롱거스는 쏘는 거요. 근데 인도잖아요. 근데 되는 게 찬에 뭐다? 라 탐제대 꾸숨게 란신래. 대인도잖아요. 양콜로 된 조서도 배지 통보지당 코르긴 칸로마스는잖아요. 마오지 말에 탐제대 꾸숨게 란신 발라더니 지와레스. 어디 소용하래.
So now reason why each comprises the three kayas. It means that when we talked about the father deity, that is the Chakra-sambhara, when we talked about the Chakra-sambhara, its own nature is emptiness, and therefore it is known as the Dhammakaya. And when it was appeared to its own disciples or its own followers, we can see that it appeared to be visible. So therefore it's known as the Nirmanakaya. And also the continuity of that is actually existing. So the continuation of that is there. So therefore it is known as the Sambhogakaya. So it doesn't mean that when you talk about the Shakyamuni Buddha, it doesn't mean that Shakyamuni Buddha is there at the present with the Chakra-sambhara. It means the nature. It means the meaning, the meaning or essence of the Dharmakaya is there, and the essence of the Nirmanakaya is there, and the essence of the Sambhogakaya, both are there. And it doesn't mean that when you talk about the chakra samvara, it's higher. When you talk about the Vajravarahi, it's lower or something like that. It doesn't mean that. So therefore, each consists of all the rest of the other three. So this is the reason why he stated that.
那么我们之所以说这都是具足三身，以这个佛父这个圣的金刚来讲，那它的本质是空性，也就是法身。那它显现在诸位这个弟子或者是说修行者的面前，可以见到这就是化身的显现。而这个从一直以来的相续的存在，这个就是报身的特质。所以当我们讲到说释迦牟尼佛并不是说他在那里，而是说他的本质就在那里，具足的法报化三身。也并不是说圣的金刚是比较高层次的，那金刚亥母是比较低层次的。我们要知道每一个本尊的本质都是具足法报化三身的。
Tinashin Zoramia Tinashin, Yamling Gimbala, Yargendone, Sanjik Kumba Togo, what Tende Indusane, Tenecherem down, Zoram Niki, Kixel down, Pondung Gimbate, Tandremason in Gure. Ichiduzane, Digi Dorson Yerchiguan, Digi, Sigi, Mutina Carson Urusana, Sanga Land, Sutem Mekami, Seatisonwe. Tungichane Carson Gurusana, Sanga Gijerem down, Zoram Gi. 객설도 본도인데 가르래에서는 주점래 세야티 땡고요래. 야.
니네테 가이스네. 걔는 벌써. 니네테 가이스네.
뭐테나 상할라 주점 메까미래 송도와.
라스.
다 되게 되게 전에 가르친 거였으나 상하게 제рем도 조rem게 객설도 본도인데 가르래서는 주점래 해야 되게 쏘는 거예요.
So now here the Vajra verse is 21 in the secret mantra
密咒修持定不可无戒第21偈。
So here what it talks about is still up to here. Now from here it talks about the generation stage and the completion stage, and also how to avoid the obstacles and how to make it like the platform, the stability of that, the growth of that, the realizations. So when you talk about the like kind of the purifying the obstacles, and at the same time try to develop or to upgrade the stages of the realizations. So here what it means is it directly shows that in the direct order, it shows that the discipline is the utmost importance for the practice of these two, the generation stage and the completion stage. And at the same time also, it shows indirectly about the discipline is important also here in order to like clarify, in order to protect from the obstacles, and at the same time it is also the enforcement to increase your realizing or like to improve your realizations. So therefore directly it shows the discipline or the vows is indispensable to have it, and at the same time it is also the like indirectly it shows that it's also important for the enforcement and also the solving the obstacles, resolving the obstacles. That's all.
所以接第21偈密咒修持定不可无戒，这边讲到升起次第圆满次第的修持如何能避免障碍呢？ 如何让它成为一个我们修行稳固的路，然后得到证悟。主要就是我们在这个过程当中，我们要净除我们的障碍，并增上我们自己证悟的这个层次。在这2点之上呢，戒律是很根本重要的条件，让我们能够修升起跟圆满次第。那这是很直接的，就这样子讲到。那并且间接的会提到戒是使我们能够净除、消除障碍，并且增上我们证悟的境界的。所以这个是不可舍的，这个很直接的讲出来。那间接的也对我们的证悟的这个境界，然后我们的证悟的结果呢，以及移除障碍有所帮助。这个间接的提出来，持戒的这个重要性。
ngāzu namjū pēnā ngā bā sēngi o tā ngā sāngā nyamni chīngi sūdhū tsāni tēne chī chāng tōna yāng tōng chō chō rō jī tā kārī chēnā yāng pēchī kā ngē dā nyō rā kāyā mēngkēn rō jī lō mūnzhēn sō gu rō tā jī tēn sōngu tē mā rā tēn dū sāngā nyamni chīngi yī na tēn tē kī nyamni chīngi kī kāngsā tēlā tsūchīm mē kāmi rēs tā tsūchīm tēlā yāna gēnyī kī tsūchīm ngī pār tū gu rē yāna gēsūr kī tsūchīm ngī pār tū gu rē 야나 gelong 좀 되게 벌고 요래 때문에 상하 냠네 칭겐게 강사이나 다 텐제기 드네 돈바숨 된 가능직 양타바 댕켄게 강사지 인고레스 대케시 메송와이나 상하 냠네 칭겐게 강사지라 겐힝게 돈바점요 메 돈바점요 다디 냠네데 상하 냠네 차투 마레스 어디인도 상하 냠네 제베 간자라 좀 메카메레 세 대송바다
So here when we talk about the mantra practitioner, here it states the practitioner means like who practice the mantrayana practice, vajrayana practice or mantrayana practice. So when we talk about the mantrayana practice, usually we have a feeling that it's easy to do because sometimes we take, even if they're allowed to drink wine or something like that. So here, when we talk about this, there comes about it's easy to practice the Vajrayana mantrayana practice, but whereas when you talk about the monks and nuns and so forth, it seems like we are preserving the vows and so forth. Usually what it means is when you're talking about the mantrayana practitioner, you have to have an account of the practicing the generation stage and the completion stage, and one should have to have the kind of conviction and also want to have like kind of believe oneself that one have a power to do that, practice that, to have one's confident or conviction within oneself. So without having these, it is not possible. Whereas here, even it's okay if you can drink wine, as you wish, means this is completely misunderstood. So here what Lord Jignesh stated is that if you want to practice the mantrayana or vajrayana, then you have to have at least the vows of the novice vows, or you should have like kind of the bodhisattva vows or the mantra, secret mantrayana vows. And at least you should have to have the novice vows. Without having these vows, it is impossible. It is not possible to have the practice of the mantrayana. So therefore what it says is it is indispensable to have these vows here. Last word.
当在这一季我们提到的说密咒乘的行者的时候，不管是金刚乘或者密咒乘，一般人有一种误解，有一种 感觉认为一个认知以为修密咒乘是比较容易的，因为在行为上没有那么多的要求，甚至可以喝酒等等。那但是我们要知道，事实上我们要修持金刚乘和密咒乘的话，不管你是比丘、比丘尼，都要持戒。那对于这个密咒乘的这个行者呢，我们在修升起圆满次第的时候，当然一个很重要的个条件就是我们要有信心，相信自己有此能力，这个信心可以修，那否则那是不可能修成的。那但是如果说在这个基础之上，认为说修密咒乘戒律就不重要，可以喝酒，这是一种误解。吉田松公祖师有提到，如果说我们要修这个金刚乘或密咒乘的话，至少应该持戒，要持别解脱戒、菩萨戒以及密咒乘的戒律。那起码也要守这个别解脱戒。那如果没有这样子的持戒的话，是不可能修持密咒乘的。
창드는 통화이나 양 델라테네 대동기 이시야 제버체베게 도트네 차투그레 선 대송그레 대인도산에 창통겐라 문에 제조게 되네 네바 유행겐지기 주요레마도베 상하냠네 지기 라와 점지 주요된데 지금 맨데 대인도산에 단단되네 되네 상하라 수좀 메까메레 소양의 네버도다 텐조텔라 송그요와 다 텐데게 빼는 네바 유행겐지기 창좀 통이자와이나 대드네 게sur당 게홍당 게니게 dom바당 가르기요 말에 당연사나 대 나라 속에 파다베 교순 창난신지다 창지 공의 최자바를 때 이내 코란 경면에 tin 창차요 말에 두즈 차도요래 티인도잖아요 다 텐데게 네바 유행겐지가 공에 그는 창통고래 소야 두고딩 서르틴마도 테네기지다 창대에서 통화달 남산드네 동바 주바테 마르보차 테네 계자시에 무투 가 근데 차된 게 지라더니 창통국으로 소냐 티켓이 인사 말에 티인도스단에 베네 추신 브루아 봤다 우치 고레 송게르 따테 용토사리 마데 수수다야로
독점 빌로 왔습니다.
위루바
위루바 플러스 So here and now, usually when we talk about the individual vows, we talk about the individual vows. They are also like the lowest of the individual vows is the upasaka vows. So it has four roots and one plus the drinking wine. It has to be avoided. The 5 vows are there. So usually when we talk about the sacred mantra in a practice, so we say that it's allowed to drink the water. Allowed to drink the wine. And in the Chakra Samvara Tantra, it has been stated that the person who is capable to drink the wine, only he can drink. And also the person who is capable is that when they chant Om the mantra, when we chant the mantra, one is able to transform the color of the wine, and also one could able to transform the energy of the wine and so forth, and they can drink the energy and also this energy into the form of the ultimate bliss and emptiness. So the person who could able to transform the wine into the nature of ultimate bliss and emptiness, then only you are allowed to drink the wine. So therefore, the one here which stated in the Chakra Samvara Tantra, you can allow to drink the wine, means it's only meant for such stage of the practitioner, not for everybody. So like this person, so if you look them drinking wine, it seems to be drinking wine, but from their own perspective or from on that side, they are just drinking their wine as a nectar, as a nectar, and so forth. So it's not like something like ordinary people drinking the wine. We drink the wine, then after drinking wine, we become, our face turned into red and you couldn't speak out properly and so forth. So this means you couldn't manage it. You cannot able to drink the wine properly. That means you are not supposed to drink the wine. You are not, capable of drinking this wine. So, for example, if you need to drink the wine, it has to be like Mahasiddhi Virupa, so who used to drink the wine, but at the same time, you drink the wine as a kind of the ultimate bliss and the happiness and also the emptiness.
当我们提到说别解脱戒的时候，是基础的戒律，它有4个根本的性戒、杀盗淫妄，以及第5的遮戒、酒戒。那有一般人误会持密咒称戒的人是可以喝酒的，但是在圣热金刚密序里面提到说，你如果真的有能力可以喝酒的话，你当然可以喝，但是条件是不容易的。持咒的人如果能够把他喝酒的时候能够把他转化酒的这个颜色以及酒的能量是究竟的空乐的境界的话，那这样子的条件之下你是可以喝酒的。那么并不是说所有的一些人都开许可以喝酒的。对于这些修行的人，外表上看起来他们好像在喝酒，但是他们喝酒实质上是像喝甘露，并不是像凡夫般的喝酒。喝了酒之后就脸红，那或者是口齿不清，这个意识不清明，没有办法控制自己，这样子不是不能喝酒的。那必须要如像大成就者像比卢巴一样，他能够把酒转化成甘露，那并不会受到心智的清明，不会受到影响，这样的人这样的境界才可以喝酒的。
대chen 제초 차 테일레 라소바 등소테로와 땡도자네 덴도 두즈나보 대당 창니보데 추랑기 롱올라 줄 삼노당도 자네 지변에 찜바로 레스도 람사 베오 답베 초르선에 지 주바준로조 창세도자는 칸은 치만 거대베게 초와지 요소와이나 만리 바레스 땡도자네 딘니보트로 추랑 원내지 냠니도 스타트베게 따와 양타보지 유나 드니 초기 제라 창샤나인데 샤샤나인데레스 근데 그 니바 주네메 베 장조게 드니 베 남도 라고 슈침보지 요와이나 드니 드질라 오마데샤나 야그레스 어디 som버데는 전에 소수근 늦어도 된 거를 추이라야 돼 소소를 니바 유기라 야그 니바 요와 나신체는 로고래 야 니바 매기이나 니바 매와 나신체는 로고를 마도 참아 집어 말와 근데 인도네 산제기 균코르가 나는데 손도 레 당부배 내주바 나지 마지스 내주바 나지 주토 나지 마지스 주토 남지 산제 나지 마지 손도 된두고 간사랑 소소게 되는 지금 냠내게 름바든 좀 배제받을 제고 유서와 어떤데 인도잖아요. 근데 상가라 수준 메카메레 산들 나랑 손라 단 디슈 체와지는 담 나와다.
So here in Lord Jikilsuman stated in his text, when we are offering, making a feast or the talk offering. So there is a kind of, when we offer this talk, this kind of like substance. Like sometimes we offer the wine, and also we offer the meat. So what Lord Jikilsuman said is, if you are yogi or Mahayogi, then like you are capable of offering that, then it's okay. Otherwise, a person like us cannot do that. We cannot. So rather than using the wine and the meat, it's better to use the milk. This is what he stated. So, for example, if you want to use the wine for that, or use the meat or whatever, then one should first think about it, whether one is capable of having the perspective or the understanding or the same feelings that like our urine and the wine is the same, whether we can take it as the same position, as the same status. Otherwise, if we take our urine as a very like kind of a disgusting thing, and then the wine as some kind of good and drinkable, then it doesn't make any sense. Here it has to be the same taste. For example, if you are having this kind of same taste, understanding of the same taste, the same taste, feeling of the same taste, then it's okay, you can do that. Otherwise you can't do that, because it's like same as like when you feel like disgusting for the like horse meat or so forth, because during the practice it has been stated horse meat, and they're kind of 5 great meat, which also included horse and the human flesh and so forth. So these are all same things. This means actually you are capable of offering that, and you could able to see these things in the same taste or the same nature, then it is okay. Otherwise, you're not recommended to do that. And it's better you can use the milk rather than using the wine or something else. So even the Buddha, even in the like chakra, Kal chakra, it has been stated by the Buddha that, like for the beginners should not act like that of the yogi, and yogi should not act like that of the siddhas, mahasiddhas, and siddhas should not act like a Buddha, because there is danger of having the downfalls. So therefore, this is what the Buddha stated in the Kal chakra.
所以在这边呢，有关于这个喝酒、吃肉等等的，吉天松公祖师在提到会供的时候，一切的供养物应，有些人认为说，你可以供肉啊，应供酒啊，那这个吉天松公的这个看法是，如果说你是一个瑜伽士或者是大瑜伽士，你当然可以这样子做，但是一般凡夫不应该供这个肉或者是酒的，供养牛奶是比供酒还更好的。我们要了解自己是不是有这个程度、这种能力、这种理解，能够把尿看成跟酒一样的这个一味、这个等持，要不然的话，如果以为说尿是恶心的，酒是美味的，这种心态分别心的话，那就不能供这个酒。需要我们内心有能够真正达到一味的程度，那才能够喝酒，要不然不可以。如果说我们认为马肉是恶心的，5大肉包括马肉啊、人肉等等的，那这样子来讲的话，我们如果可以看到这些肉的本质是一如的，那么当然可以供，否则呢，最好还是供牛奶。在十轮金刚里面法里面有提到，就说初学者的行为不应该表现得好像一个瑜伽士，瑜伽士的行为也不应该把自己表现得好像大成就者，一个大成就者的行为也不应该把自己描绘成这个做成好像一个佛陀一样的，要不然就会有所过患。总之就是要依照我们自己的程度来，应该可以做什么事，不应该做什么事。
파초당 마히던조 라초로 지나 라초기 북네 마 라초기 치로라 용하나 신상의 단계 동성고 냠네데 라초기 북데페 이홍 총총 요로와 라초기 마 짜라 말레스나 이홍도 bombo 요로와 텐드네 지 동성 냠네데 담보페 토포 테네 칼레칼레 양양로 양로 신상 단계 요로와 제된 송고 대송고 마 동성고 냠네데 라초기 나나 양주와 나신게 송고 토로 로로 송고 대지류 전에 되네 너연라 롱수 제바 대기 되네 파르추 제야 돼 너냥내 챙긴라야 너연 그 파르추 그래 상하 냥내 챙긴라야 너연의 지 차시 셴비게 로지 제송아이나 877了，几波就像6送过来。다동 배치 상하고서 877와 용식이래. 뭐 근데 인도잖아요. 근데 바도 주반 넘어가지. 어때서?
So here, when the 22nd verses,
22记贪为成道障碍经许同。
The sutra and mantra tradition are the same. So what it means is, when you talk about the Lord Jigten Sumgyen and Buddha, when we talk about it, the practice, the method of the practice, it has its own stages. Like first you go for the practice of the individual liberation, and then you go to the Bodhisattva Dhyana, and then you go to the sacred mantrayana practice and so forth. But whereas sometimes people think that when you talk about the individual's vows and individual practice, it is more stricter or more difficult to do, rather than compared to the Bodhisattva Dhyana and Vajrayana. Because they think that when you practice Bodhisattvas and Vajrayana, it's more open and easy going. But whereas Lord Jigten Sumgyen stated that it's not like this, it's rather the opposite. For example, like kind of horn, you know, from the root, it is a little bit open. When you're practicing like individual practice, it's like a little bit open. But when on the way to the tip of the horn, it becomes stricter and stricter and become more narrow and narrower and narrower. So the practice of this is like something like that. So it is stated when you are practicing like the 5 kind of objects, like kind of taste, listening, and the seeing from the eyes and touch, and all this. These are all kind of during the practice it's mentioned. So you have to avoid that in the like individual vows. We have to avoid all this. So what Lord Jigten Sumgyen stated is that when you are practicing the mantrayana practice, it is even more becomes narrower, like a horn. You have to go from all the way like open to the, you know, the much narrower and narrower to the tip of the horn. It becomes even more narrower. So it's something like that. That means we have to practice. Like when you're doing the practice, you should pay more attention for these kind of outer objects, 5 outer objects of the samsara. Otherwise, there's no difference actually between like practicing of these 5 objects, whether you practice in the sutrayanas or the individual vows or bodhisattva vows or the mantrayana vows. It's all same. But rather, when you practice, go through on the stages of the path, it is becoming narrower, stricter, more difficult and difficult. So therefore, even when you're practicing mantrayana practice, you have to give more precisely on this lasana.
那么吉天松公祖师也好，佛陀也好，都有提到修行的法都有它的阶段性，先从别解脱乘开始，再修菩萨乘，再修密咒乘。那有时人们会误认为说别解脱乘是最严格的，认为菩萨乘跟密咒乘的修法比较开放，比较容易。那吉天松公祖师是看法并不是这样子，他相反的认为这个修行的阶段性跟境界就有像这个，比如说把它拿那个牛角来比好了，是一开始是比较大比较宽的，那但是越来越窄越来越窄越来越陡，你越往上走是越来越窄越来越陡。所以呢，我们要避免的一般认为说别解脱界的别解脱乘的行者要避免五妙欲，就是色声香味触等等。 那当时在修持密咒乘的行者呢，我们要了解上，事实上这个路是更窄更陡的，因为它越来越往上了，它是更加的困难的，所以我们要更加注意我们外在的色身香味触的这种欲望跟一些现象。那彼此之间的这个戒律戒律的保持呢，在这个3个层次，别解脱乘、菩萨乘跟这个密咒乘都是一样的。但是如果说以阶段性来讲呢，它虽然本质上是一样，但是阶段性来讲呢，是越来越困难的，那越来要求越更精确的，所以并不是说别解脱乘才比较容易。并不是说别解脱乘比较困难，事实上它是比较容易的。
So here is one additional reason for that, and for this one, during the time of the king Indrabodhi, who is a great practitioner and yogi of the time. So one day, what happened was when he was in the kind of meditation in the retreat, and while his wife came to honor. So he saw his wife, and in the core of his heart, he has a feeling that, oh, my wife is beautiful, and he has a feeling for that. And then so he tried to tease her in order to show like kind of his feelings. Then the king transformed himself into like 1,000 arms, and 100 arms, and he transform his hand into the 1,000 hands and try to receive the food from his wife. And his wife also was like a great practitioner, a yogi, that she also transformed the food into the offerings of 1,000 offerings together. So this way they have been like engaged into the like kind of their the inner, the attachment to each other. So that time, the Jalendra, the master, the great yogi Jalendra, got upset, and he told that this is not the way how you should practice the mantrayana. If you practice and if you engage in this kind of manner, this is not the manner how to practice the Vajrayana practice or the mantrayana practice. In this way, then you would never have been enlightened or to reach to the ultimate enlightenment. So this means it stated that. So these are the kind of the attachments for our 5 outer objects, and therefore, if you attach to that, whether you are in Sutrayana practice, Bodhisattvayana practice, or in the Mantrayana practice, it is the same faults. And it's the same downfalls. It is for this reason it has been stated that all are same here. That's all.
另外一个原因呢，在过去这个印度王因抓菩提在世的时候，他是一个非常好的修行者。他有一次在禅修的时候，他太太过来供斋。那他内心升起的一个念头就是，我太太是这么样的漂亮，这样的美丽，然后想要跟她开个玩笑，就把她自己画成100只手，100只手臂，然后1000只手的这个形象。那他太太本身也是一个非常好的瑜伽行者，把他本来要供养的这个供物呢，化成1000份来供养他的这个印抓菩提这个国王。所以他们彼此之间是在这样子的这个游戏，但是当时呢，Jalendra 大师呢看到了就很不高兴，可能告诫他们，你不应该如此来修持密咒乘，如果你这样子修持的话，那你是不可能得到成就的。我们要知道究竟解脱或者是等到究竟解脱的，我们要对这个外在的五妙欲色身香味触的这种欲望呢，这个要持守的戒律呢，不管你是在别解脱乘或菩萨乘或者是密咒乘的这个戒律，它的都是一样的，那它违犯的这个过患也是一样的。
근데 그 유이동화의 코란 유이드나 개념가 요 말에 스테인도 전에 장주 선바데 이제 장외게 남바래서 근데 상가감다지는 유이동화 땡고레스 데 코란 유이동화데 뉴몽백이 람마인바 근데 예시기 뭐라 수줄도 요레스 근데 인도 전에 근데 유르베게 냠네 스트레스는 맹따용 거와 다른 지대 송을 근데 말에 송바래 난 지대 송고 송바래서야 말에 무유네스로 돈에 좀생 가래서나 상하게 냠는기 메게와데 이걸 줄투야요 말에 메게와데 메게와랑래 메게와데 메게와랑래 게와데 게와랑래 그러니 뭐 가가래 제레 가가래 제우 가가래 조 가가래 디 인도 전에 제대 송고 송바이나 상하게 냠는데 장외기 라미 송바래 가인스나 디바 메게와 어떤소파 장고레스 텐소파 장네 근데 대다기 랑진 뭐마데 가스나 근데 이시레 게와레 대송원데 제고레스 인도 전에 상하기 메게와 대가랑 게와라 주주 시마레스 때 요야요 말에 어텐도 하지 메게 게원 주가메스 야 대소레
第23季
So now the 23rd verse of verses. There is no occasion when the
咒亦不可令恶而成善
becomes virtuous. So what it means is usually when they talk about in the general statement, when we talk about the individual vows, one should avoid all these outer objects, and we should protect oneself, the vows and so forth. And when we talk about the bodhisattva vows, we should purify, and we should practice the purifications of the outer objects. And whereas, like in the mantrayana vows, we talk about we should take it into account that outer object as the object of the practice. So, like we have been saying that for the individual vows, so we should avoid the outer object, which is like kind of attractive or so forth. And because of that, avoiding that, one should protect one's mind. And at the same time, when you talk about the bodhisattva jnana, so we should, it is stated that we should practice or we should purify that with understanding. And at the same time, here in the mantrayana practice, it is said we have to take it into account. We can take it into granted that whatever the outer object is good, bad, we can take into granted and we can make a practice. And it is said that for the mantrayana, there's no, some stated that there's no like kind of the non-virtues, because everything becomes virtuous. So whereas the Lord Jigten stated that it is not possible that the virtues becomes non-virtuous, non-virtuous become virtuous, there's no such condition, there's no such situation that the non-virtuous becomes virtuous. Why? Because the virtue and non-virtuous are two different categories, two different things, and its causes and condition is different, and its activities is different, and its nature is different. Somehow, how could we do that? Then it is stated that for the Vajrayana practice or the Mantrayana practice, one should take it as how to purify, take it this object, how to purify that, how one can purify that and to get rid of that non-virtues. Otherwise, you cannot take it, you cannot do this one. You take the non-virtues as virtues, and this cannot be, it is impossible. It's impossible to become non-virtuous into the virtues because their nature is different. So there's no point that you practice non-virtues and you become the virtues. So this is why
23季咒亦不可令恶而成善， 那在一般人的讲法认为，这解脱圣的行者应该要避免外在的这个五妙欲的东西，保护自己的戒行或戒体。那菩萨圣的行者的一般的修行方法，就是要净除外在的一切的东西。那密咒乘的行者应该可以直取外在的物，因为他们是修持的这个方便材料。那一般人有这样子的看法，认为说别解脱圣的行者之所以要避免这些美妙的东西，主要是要保护我们的心。那菩萨圣的行者是要净化他们，密咒乘能够了解他们的本质，能够持受，并把它转成修行的这个道用的，因为一切是没有不善的。
And here the 24th verses, what is the non-virtues in the Vinaya, all does not become virtues in the Mantrayana tradition. And it's the same thing actually, it talks the same, the preceding the verses, and it stated that what has been non-virtues in the Vinayas, in the stage of Vinaya, also be non-virtues in the Mantrayana traditions. Like why? Because for example, like whatever is the killing in terms of the Vinaya practice, it's a non-virtues. But whereas if it talks about in terms of the Mantrayana practice, it will be the same non-virtues. It cannot be the virtues. In the same way, therefore, it is stated that whatever non-virtues in the Vinaya also does not become virtues in the Mantrayana, because their nature, their causes and conditions, and their activities is different.
那么认为说密咒乘的行者可以看到一切皆善，但是吉间松公主是并不同意这种看法，他认为恶是不可能转成善的，因为善跟恶是两个不同的事情，它的因不同，本质不同，它的行为造作也不同，那如何我们可以说它是相同的呢？密咒乘应该了解，就是说如何去造作以去除不善，而不是讲说只想说不善就好像善两个是等同的，这是不对的，因为它们本质上原本就不同。20世纪咒义不可令20世纪米那亚说二者咒义恶，那相同的意义，这一季跟上一季一样。那在别解脱乘认为不善的，在密咒乘也是不善的。比如说杀人，在密咒乘是觉得不善，当然要避免，但是在密咒乘的也是要避免，也是不善的。你不可能把它化成为善，因为他们在3个向度上本质上不同，它的因不同，它的造作也是不同的，所以不可能把恶的东西变成善的，这是吉田松公主师的见解。所以刚刚就是第20世纪米那亚说二者咒义恶，第25季净除烦恼方式善事果。
독숨라 소바파 다베게 란신 다베게 ngokan임바들라 때는 데버시바 선의 소마임바레세 대송에 녀몽탄데 데버시바니스 데모도 녀몽바 코란랑 데버시바 인시베테 많이 송래
And here the visual verses, the 25th visual verses, the result of purifying the mental afflictions is the stage of a sugata. And what it means is usually when we talk about the 5 afflictions, usually we take its 5 afflictions or 5 ignorance as a wisdom. Sometimes we take it as the 5 Buddhas. Sometimes we take it as the conception as a Dhammakaya. And what Lord Jigusumi stated is, it is Dhammakaya, it is wisdom, and it is the 5 Buddhas only in presence of the person who has been realized, who has been enlightened person. Only, not for a person like us, individual person like us. it's not that possible. When you talk about the conceptions, only when you have reached up to certain stage that you can you are enlightened, then only you can take all these 5 emotions or 5 ignorance as a wisdom, Buddhas, and the Dharmakaya. So what he's stated here is that, and also in that kind of person, on the stage of those person, all the 5 ignorance were transformed already. So they are all purified there. So therefore, like, if you cannot purify one's own ignorance, then you cannot say that ignorance is the Buddha nature. Only when this ignorance were purified, then it becomes the Buddha nature. So, like, for example, by the practice of the generation and the completion stage, and this kind of path, and one could able to purify one's own like 3 emotions, or at the same time, like the 5 emotions or afflictive emotions, whatever. So when it is purified only, it is known as the Buddha nature. Otherwise, you cannot say that ignorant mind as the Buddha nature. Only the one which is purified is known as the Buddha nature. Rasulullah.
那在这个偈颂里面，我们讲到一般人认为说，在究竟利益上，那个无烦恼、无无明、无方佛，它是相等的。那我们要知道，这只是法上面的这个概念，概念上，他们这些就是法身，那么他们都是智慧，他们都是五方佛。但是吉天松公主是讲说，千万不要这样子看法，因为我们现在还是凡夫，我们没有办法看到他们究竟的境界，不能真正的理解他们的等同的这个道理，只是我们在意义上，在概念上，我们知道说它是等同的。我们必须要真正的这个证悟，然后呢，才能够真的了解到他们是等同的。在这些人呢，他所有的五烦恼都已经净化，都已经转成智慧了。在这个阶段之前，我们不能轻易讲说这些都是等同，他们都是佛性的展现。我们要知道，透过我们的修持来净化我们的3毒也好，5毒也好，要净化之后才说是它是佛性的一部分的展现。在未净化之前呢，我们不能就轻易的讲说他们都是相同的，本质都是相同的，都是佛性，因为我们自己还没有到那种程度，还没有到那种境界。
누바 대가자지 토연토야 요래에서 상하게 누바 땜베게 찌르 마도베 상하게 라렌텐지 제쇼세베 토연 말에 숨바레 텐도자네 토템바 잠레 문주 나와메스 문주스 타부기 레가트조레 달레 제야 된소 제쇼 된소 제와이나 디바요 말에서는 산지가 나와 자와니는 요 말에스 텐두 상하게 토이 토네드니
第26偈非为施展神通行诸法。
So here the Vajra verses 26, the powers are merely demonstrated, violent activities are not permitted. So what it talks about is when we talk about the mantrayana practice, sacred mantrayana practice, there comes 4 different kind of activities. There is like a peaceful activities, then the extensive activities, then also the powerful or power, the activities of the power, and the activities of the force, or like like devastating forces, and all these things. So we have been saying that if the person is not in the right position, or the person is very mercilessly ill person, one should do this kind of practice and kill or crush down or make it like we can kill it, and we can make it like kind of remove such person from this world and so forth, and using this kind of power of like activities. And what Lord Jivan Sungmin stated is that, and it's not a right way, misunderstood. So what he stated is in the like mantra in the practice, that it has been demonstrated there, the kind of powers are demonstrated there, but it is not that we should use the kind of like violent activities and to kill somebody else and to crush down somebody else or eliminate somebody else. It is not permitted. It's not permitted there. So it is just means to show that it is it is stated that with the power, it is possible that you can do this, but it is not allowed. It is not permitted there.
所以第26计非为施展神通行诸法。那我们知道修持密咒乘的行者是有4种不同的事业，也就是我们一般讲的习真怀诛。那么这个人呢，如果不是在适当的位置，或者是当时有适当的情况，不可以轻易的行诸法来移除一个人的生命的。那这个吉天松公主是认为这个看法是一般人有误解，认为这个密咒乘可以做这种4种事业，但是他的看法是密咒乘的这样子的神通的能力不应该行诸法，或者是说杀人，这是绝对禁止的。那这種威力呢，不可輕易使用。
marwa korangi leka yapun duya chidu cheba chemndo korangi jesu melegi dibat joya chidu cheba de chenando di jesu marwa korangi sonre ngala kesin kamba yabu ji jab goya ina ni kola kala yabu te kejan himbo shin nge kamba de jab jugros ngala kamba se ke jab goya mes ina da korangi digdip pe shuk chembo sa cheba indu zane te tabar cheba chidu nge cheba cheba yin ta nima terene zonde ko nge tene ke segeta zo de yin nge soma zo de yin sone jesu sondo tinan shin indu zane kesi penna sangha ge tene ji chue de pechu chene shin paro go so cheba la so ba tzo ni ba tang chu tene mengi yuna tene jesu mele shaba te ga che go yum chen yo mare marba ge yan shaba te ga che ju go yum chen yo marba tin indu zane tene tenzo la sono tang indu zane sangha ge chue de pechu chene yin seba la so ba te 디바당 논트리 좀 생각하는 샤바 나인 거요와 어때인데 드는 지든 송게 텐수 디바레 논트리 대인자 산하게 드는 초같은 배주 간용만요 제네 드는 레간다마다 제와이나 되게 드는 뇨로 첨부 차이다 대인자 드는 다른데 트렌즈는 문제 나와메스는 대송바래
And it's also stated that with such kind of the methods, use the power and kill the other sentient beings or eliminate other sentient beings, if that is kind of the virtues in terms of when we are talking about the Vajrayana practice, then why do we need, like, for example, the Milarepa has to undergo all this hardship before his master to get enlightenment? It doesn't need that. So what it means that with the this kind of practice, with the mantrayana practice, with the method, if you make mistakes, then it's a mistake. So that's why the Marpa has punished Milarepa in many different ways, building a house and so forth. And because of this is a mistakes. And this is a non-virtuous deeds or actions. And that's why the Marpa said that actually, if I need a house, then I may ask him to do it in a different way. But it's because of his own non-virtuous misdeeds. I have to treat him badly. And in order to overcome all these obstructions and all these evil misdeeds. So after what happened was Then after doing all this, treating all this, Milarepa in a very different and very difficult situation, and ultimately the Marpa has taken him as one of the main disciples who follow his practice. And so this is why that even in the mantra and practice, it is not permissible. So if it's not that, if it is permissible, then these things would not happen during the time of Milarepa and Marpa also. So therefore, it is stated that the power are merely demonstrated, violent activities are not permitted. So this is the reason why it is stated.
所以如果说这个方法的威力，用这种方法或威力来行诸杀业的话，如果这个是善行，那么为何弥勒日巴要经过这么长久的这种苦修跟折磨，然后才能够让他的上师指导他证悟之道、修行之道呢？因为错了就是错了。那马尔巴大师他用种种的方法来惩处弥勒日巴，因为弥勒日巴祖师犯了这个非常严重的恶行，所以他如果房子需要那个弥勒日巴帮他盖房子的话，他不会叫他会要他用不同的方式来盖房子的。但是马尔巴当时为了要帮助弥勒日巴消除他的累积的这些恶业，而让他修了这么多的苦行。那这个之后呢，当弥勒日巴祖师的业清净之后，他变成为了这个马尔巴的主要的弟子了。所以我们要了解诸行是诸杀的这个行为，在密咒称的修行是不可以的。如果要是可以的话，那么马尔巴就不会要这样子的对这个弥勒日巴做这么多的苦行来消他自己的业的。不对的就是不对的，即使在密咒称也是不可以做的。
상하게 추년에 지구에서는 바 투수제한으로 지나 야나 되네 베나지 라 야비움 텐데 조르데바 텐데 곰네 뇌차던들 돈에 야비움 조르데바 곰데 안로 야나 되네 지 샤당긴 돈에 라 타보 텐데 곰데 안로 돈에 라 있네스루 가야 마시바 고지 대바당 타난 가야 메바 지라 궁구여서는 담으로 곰데바 있나야 되긴 간소라 초등 투문궁으로 가야 뭐 톱송 거여대 대인들 제된 성공게 되네真的많이 논디 송도와 라 뇌차제나 이단 주르스 라 곰베가서 뇌차게 생겨 돈을 주는 하지 곰데바이나 대주는 이다라 제와라 줄 찬우레스 대나신도 라 셰단 제나 녀런 주르스 앞에 셰단게 돈에 라 타고 벤 직수로 같은데 곰네 근데 소소 마가사게 간사던 도지 토자게 등소를 미바치한다고 다시 간사 바로 보세 두고 유미 대성물에 소소 누반당이 말와때는 얘네 미바티 도치한다고 용거와 아니 란디 돈에 거지 콜라 나사지 나로치나 코 매와 차로치나 소양한다고 등소 셰단 돈 하고마세게로와 된디나지야 지 삼주 천주 강야 미바타 라 곰도에서네 지 덴젠도 지금 곰데바이나 삼삼야 이 녀도 차오래 디지털 좀 가시에서도 플라텐데 곰 라마텐데 지오로 곰인도 전에 드럼게 가서 고가는 마 타기면도 생겼는데 연구에서로 딘단도 하라 덴진슈 체대 군으로와 플라 곰바탄 라마 곰바탄도 배치 나노라 동바들이 공구로 마도베 문에지 샤타게 장신징에 사진 고가나 유대와이나 대단 연구는 타기 말와 티인도 전에 대ten데시는 라인 네탄 가야 메시 대바단 단항내 같은 곰대바이나 근데 때문에 곰바 송거래 티인도 등수 둔돌라 제베 주레스 근데 인자 대외 라라 자라지 송도한 디든 송고게 근데 인자 플라 곰베 가서 등수게 내수고 야부지 하고와체 소소로 문에지 대바당 이치지게 돈에 드는 라인 남바지 검투송아이나 대라 때네 조던 투문으로 상황줘야 요래 송바레 띠인디 단단 내내야 도된사면 문주 나와메 세다 등소된 저기 겸무래
And also here it's an additional complements, and moreover, when you do the practice of the Vajrayana or Mantrayana, it's required of wisdom. And also we need to have a kind of the three faiths, three kind of faith, or three kind of conviction within ourselves. The first and foremost is like kind of the yidam, the deities. One should have to have the faith in the deity that with this practice one would be able to have attain the Buddhahood and so forth. And the second is that one should have to have the pure conviction or the faith towards the teacher who teaches us, who show the path to practice the deities. So if you don't have the a faith to the master, then it's very difficult to have the ripening ourselves or make ourselves furnished to become such kind of Buddha or deities. And the third is the one should have to have the faith towards oneself, that by practicing these deities, I would be able to achieve such kind of state or such kind of endowments or such kind of the siddhis. Otherwise, just practicing which was associated with attachment. If you do some kind of the yidam deities, then it is said that if you have, when you are practicing deities, but you attach to it and you do it like this with the attachment, then you would be being born as the hungry ghost. And whereas on the other sides, when you're practicing the deities, the ferocious deities, and with the the sense or feelings of, then it is stated that you will be being born as a hell being. And also, when you practice such kind of the deities with the kind of not really understanding what is the core essence of practicing that. And there's a saying that when you are practicing with somebody, people say that when in a dissolution, in the stage of dissolution, some people say that when I dissolve the deity into myself, it's very difficult to dissolve it because it got stuck in my head. Because they take it, all these deities, as a very solid or as some kind of rough and tough. So that's why it couldn't dissolve into oneself. So whereas when you're practicing the deities, it has to be practiced in the form of emptiness and in the form of appearing at the same time, yet it is emptiness. So this kind of understanding is not there, then this is the problem. Even if you practice, then this becomes ignorant. And if you practice, then you would being born as in the animal realms. So therefore, when you are practicing all these deities, one should have to have the understanding of how it is done and what is the reason behind and what has to be taken into account. So this has to be understood. Otherwise, it's not possible rather than these three other downfalls. Therefore, it is stated here, it's also seen, the violent activities are not permitted. Lasola.
那在这边讲到有更多的论述，就是密咒乘或者金刚乘修持需要更多的智慧以及3种条件。第一个就是对本尊的有信心。那么如果说依法修习的话，那可以有一天可以证悟佛果。第二点就是对上师的信心，要有这个条件才来修本尊法。如果我们对上师没有信心的话，那么有可能要达到成就也是很不容易的事情。第三个是对自己的信心，如果说如此法来修的话，可以有得到相对的这个成就。那么要不然的话，我们修持本尊法也可能会加强我们自己的执着，而成为这个恶鬼道的众生。
The Vajra hell is something different from the usual one. And what the Lord Jesus stated is that actually the Vajra hell is not other than the hells, like ceaseless hell, like for example, the 8 different kind of heat, the hell of heating or burning hell or something like that. So it is actually the Vajra hell is not other than all these hells. Actually, these hell are the Vajra hells. That's all.
那么如果说没有这些条件的话，我们要修持这个密咒称要能够是有问题的，也有可能会因为我们的内心的执着，在修持之后更加加强了，将来受生到恶鬼道。那么对于如果我们在修本尊法的修行过程当中，内心还有很多的诚心的话，将来是会对应到地狱道的。那如果说我们对这个修持的了解不是很圆满的话，很难够说在圆满次第的时候再把对不起，刚刚讲的地狱道之后呢，是讲说如果对修持的过程不是很了解，或者是有邪见的话，将来是会对应到这个畜生道的。那接下来讲到就是在修圆满次第的时候，那个有人认为说很难把本尊融入我身，这很困难，因为我们自己头脑上认为这是不可能的。我们要知道显空不二、色空无二的这个道理。那如果说没有这种正确的这个理解，没有正见的话，这是一种邪见，就会将来堕畜生道。所以我们应该要了解实际上的修持是条件是怎么样的。那第27偈颂乃为金刚阿鼻地狱众，说如果不是这样子的修持要堕到地狱的话，这不是一般的地狱，像8个烧煮地狱等等或其他地狱，而是到金刚地狱去了。那刚刚的另外一个讲法就是所有的地狱本质上就像金刚地狱一般。
로빈 데라 또바야메 이나야 상하게 왕다 텐소토는 제와지차 근데 탐색 냐용도 전에 나랑양 냐외나야 장신군의 탈마투 로빈게야 잼투 근데 로빈데 로만 니가 마이나 냠도 텔데야 니 같은데 용그레스 어디인도 전에 근데 문에게 또반 통부 유베게 라마지 땡고에 백해심부레스 다 텐소 거데 근데 상이 따금 제가 처음은 나한테 송영구를 라마 칼레지 고이와데
第28偈正量高超上師速導引。
If the master's level of mind is high, he can quickly pull one up. So what it means is like when you're practicing, like when you engage in the path of Vajrayana, like one should have to have a right person, the right master, a perfect master. And there is a samaya between the masters and the disciples or the followers. And both the masters and disciple has to have a samaya between each other. So if you don't follow the samaya, then one will fall into the hell. That is the kind of Vajra hell and so forth. And also it is stated that when the masters is a right person, who is fully accomplished person, and who is like furnished with the compassion, loving kindness and compassion, and at the same time, who is a high level of their realization, then it is possible that this kind of person can pull himself out from the hell realms. And if the person doesn't have this kind of power, or he doesn't have this kind of quality or the realization, then rather than pulling yourself from the hell this person can go together with you to help. So therefore, we should have to have a right person or the perfect masters. So this is what it means here. And how to find the perfect masters and find the perfect master will be stated in the coming now, the vital point of view, meditation, and kanda. So this will follow up in our sessions next.
那这一个品的最后一句，正量高超上师速导引，就是当我们修持密咒乘的时候，我们必须要有一个也非常适当，而且是一个非常好的一个上师，具格的上师，而且彼此之间的三昧也要很亲近，要不然就容易陷入堕入金刚地狱。上师必须有证悟的，而且具足的慈悲心。那如果是这样，或许当我们要掉落地狱的时候，他可以帮我们从那边拔除。要不然，如果他们不是这样具格的上师，不但不能把我们从地狱道中拔除，甚至会跟我们一起堕下去。那至于如何找这样的上师，我们在下一品的渐修行品会有讲解。现在是准备做结行。我们已经讲完了这个密咒戒的这个要义品，今天到此圆满，做回向。以此功德得见一切见，击败一切过患之敌众，生老病死杂乱之波涛，轮回大海愿度诸众生。祈求上师贵体圣妙康，祈求尊身寿命极久长，祈求事业旗帜圆满胜，愿得无离上师其加持。犹如文殊勇士大智慧，复是普贤菩萨如是行，随习彼等一切我学习，是功德等一切尽回向。佛陀三身得正之加持，法性不变真谛之加持，生前坚固聚集之加持，如是回向其愿愿成就。以我以及一切有情众三世所积善业与佛性，愿我与等虚空诸众生速证无上正等觉妙宝。所知遍照遍智法之尊，缘起界住处自在只共八，人千八之教法遍有记，讲修愿由闻思修持之。殊胜菩提心妙宝，未生起者愿生起，一生者亦不退失，其愿辗转更正上。谢谢看签，谢谢看布，感谢各位，感谢各位口译者，不同的这个语言。我们明天同一个时间，也就是美国西岸的是7点半，亚洲时间10点半。明天晚上同一时间跟各位再见，谢谢。那这个礼拜呢，这个很多的法教，包括了明天星期3的共期正法一意，星期5还有第16讲。这个周末星期6、星期天，卡切仁波切有不同的法教，那时间是9点到12点，晚一点在schedule这个 meeting。谢谢各位参与。